Alright girl, get cozy with me because we gonna talk about all the stuff that nobody told us when we became first-time moms. I cannot believe that I didn't even know these things. The nurses didn't tell me, the doctors didn't tell me, my mom didn't tell me, my mother-in-law, literally every woman I know that has children did not tell me this stuff, and that is pretty annoying. It is really, really annoying, and some of the stuff you haven't even heard, okay? Because nobody talks about this stuff. I don't know why people don't tell you this stuff. Nobody told me, which means probably nobody told you either, which is just why? That's not even nice. I got 3 things that we're gonna talk about in this video, and the last one, girl, your head will literally explode because why didn't anyone tell us this? You don't think that was important information for us to know? Ridiculous. Okay, so let's get right into this video. Okay. Wish you were as big as I wish you were as big as I wish you were as big as The first one is pretty obvious if you have not already figured this one out yourself, girl. Your sleep schedule, gone. It's gone. When you have a newborn baby, that newborn baby needs you to feed it a lot. Needs you to change it a lot. Needs you to literally do everything for it all the time. Human newborn babies are pretty useless, I'm not gonna lie. Like animals, they come into the world and at least they can walk around, you know what I mean? Humans, no. No. We're adorable. Our babies are so cute. Like, look at mine. Look at him. He's so freaking adorable. I love him, but you know, he's useless. I gotta do everything for him. Literally everything. Everything. I don't mind, right? I don't mind. It's okay. But you will not only lose just so much sleep, your whole sleep schedule is just gonna be ruined because you're waking up often to feed the baby. You're cleaning something all the time. Then you gotta focus on tummy times. You gotta focus on, you know, those little black and white picture books and whatnot during tummy times and, you know, sensory things for babies. You don't think you gotta do all this stuff, but then you're sitting there as a new mommy like, what am I doing? And you're so exhausted too because you're waking up so often to feed your baby, to change your baby, and you are just so tired. And you don't regret it necessarily, but you're just so beat. Like, this newborn baby is winning. You are losing, mama. You are gonna be losing this battle bad. Okay? And that's okay. That's just what comes with being a first-time mom, and you just gotta accept it. You just gotta accept it and just try not to complain so much because the complaining will get to your own head. Okay? It's not gonna do anything for anyone other than you. The more you complain, you're gonna be like, oh, even more miserable. And I know that's really hard. I know that's really hard, but you know, just try a little to complain less. Because the words we speak, they are reality, okay? And I know you're tired. I'm tired, okay? There's not enough concealer in the world, okay, to make the bags look like they don't exist, okay? But we do a decent job. We do a decent job. If you wear concealer, if you don't, girl, you rock those bags, okay? You still cute. But the lack of sleep as a first-time mom is severe. It's serious. You do not sleep normally anymore. My son is now 2. I finally now sleep normally. Just a little. Finally. Because those first few months of becoming a new mommy, you are in survival mode. And that's just what it is. There's nothing you can really do about that. You just gotta deal with it. Take it day by day. And you will see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then you're gonna have a kid who's now asking you for cheese a lot. At least mine does. Just remember when you're in the thick of it and you are sitting there as a first-time mommy and you're like, I'm gonna explode. I'm gonna explode. That's what it's gonna feel like. You're gonna feel like you're gonna explode, all right? Just like a volcano erupted, all right? But honestly, it's just really because of lack of sleep. It is what it is, but I wish somebody would have told me how severe that lack of sleep was actually gonna be. Because sleep is really important, and if we're not getting it, of course we're gonna act crazy. You're gonna feel like you're banging pots against your head. But don't feel like it is the end of the world, because I promise, you will get out of it. When you're in the thick of it, just remember, I told you that you will get out of it, and you'll be just fine. I got out of it, you'll get out of it, and all the other mommies get out of it. And then you deal with a toddler, okay? The second thing that nobody told me when I became a first-time mom, and honestly, this is where I feel like the nurses and the doctors in my OB dropped the ball on this one, because I should have known this when I had a baby and nobody told me. Your breast milk, it's not gonna come in at first. It takes a couple days for it to come in. And I did not know that. I did not know that my breast milk would not come in at first, okay? It took my breast milk almost 5 days to come in. 5 whole days. 5 whole days. Do you know, in those 5 days, I felt like I was spiraling in the worst way possible. I felt like I was always latching my son. I felt like I was always feeding him. I thought he was already cluster feeding and all this stuff. Whole time, my milk wasn't even, like, it was not in. It was just like little drops he'd get here and there. My milk did not come in at all. It took so long for it to come in, and I cried. I had a mental breakdown every day. I felt like a terrible mom. My son lost so much weight in those first 5 days. When we took our son to the pediatrician after he was born, I believe it's about a 48-hour turnaround time, a 48-hour period where you're supposed to take your baby to its first pediatrician visit, right? We took him 2 days after he was born, and my pediatrician looked at me. She's like, oh my gosh, like, he's lost a lot of weight. Like, what is going on? I'm like, I don't know, he's not eating anything. I almost started crying in the office. It was so embarrassing. I don't know what to do. Like, what is going on? And she's like, oh, your milk probably just hasn't come in. And I'm looking at her like, what do you mean my milk hasn't come in? The pediatrician of all people had to tell me that. I did not know. I didn't know until 2 days after my son was born. Because in the hospital, the nurses would latch him. So I thought I was good. You know, she like helps me latch him and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And so in my head, I was like, oh, I'm good. The nurse didn't say anything. So why would I think that something wasn't right? You know what I mean? But then the pediatrician's like, oh, honey, it's fine. Like, your milk hasn't fully come in yet. And I'm like, what? You're gonna tell me that I've been having mental breakdowns and crying my eyes out for the last 2 days, and the whole time it's not even my fault? My milk just hasn't come in yet, and that's normal? The fact that your milk does not come in until after a couple of days that your baby is born? I almost lost it, okay? I almost lost it. And I have not heard anybody talk about that in any of these videos about being a first-time mom, about how your milk doesn't come in at first. Girl, that is something we need to know. That is something moms need to know, because it is so frustrating. You're trying to figure out why your baby's losing so much weight when you're feeding him or her all the time. It made no sense to me. If you choose to breastfeed, right? If you're not breastfeeding, then this is not your case. Your baby is good. You know, your baby's thriving off formula. My baby, I wanted to breastfeed him. I was like, okay, I want to breastfeed my baby. Like, why isn't this working? I thought I was broken. And that is so upsetting as a first-time mom. Like, dang, I went through childbirth and now I can't even feed this guy. I felt terrible. He was losing so much weight. And his pediatrician was like, look, I know you want to breastfeed. Your milk hasn't come in yet. Give him some formula for the time being so he can gain back the weight, because you don't want him to lose any more weight, because then he's got to go back to the hospital. That's what she said to me. She said if I didn't give him formula so he would gain the weight back, that I would have to take him back to the hospital because he had just dropped so much weight. Could you imagine? I was so upset. I was so infuriated with the staff at the hospital, because not a single one of those nurses could have said that to me. Like, dang, hello, you didn't think that was important information for me to know, and for every other mom to know? I hope everybody's OBs and doctors and nurses, they should be telling you that stuff, and if they didn't, I am so sorry. And if you had a very similar experience to me where you were panicked because your baby was losing so much weight, I am so sorry. I don't even know what that feels like. It is so hard and it is so upsetting, but girl, that's why I'm telling you this now, okay? If you're gonna be a first-time mom, your milk will not come in at first, okay? So do not be frustrated, do not be upset. If you have to give your baby formula, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. They'll be fine. And the last thing I wish somebody would have told me before I became a mother, okay? Childbirth is not as scary as you think it is. Now hear me out, okay? I know once you got pregnant, you probably thought about it so many times and it probably freaked you out. Okay, it freaked me out. All right, the thought of childbirth really started to sink in when I got into my 3rd trimester, and I was like, oh God, I really gotta do this. I gotta do this. Like, a human is gonna come out of my body. Either I gotta push it out or it's gonna get cut out of me. One or the other is gonna happen, and both don't sound that fun, okay? Both sounded terrifying, all right? So whatever anxiety you're feeling about giving birth to your child, I promise that when you're in the thick of it, when you are having your contractions, when you are in so much pain, when you're sweating, when you're stressed, when you're doing that little like walk and you're like, oh, you're holding your back, you're doing all the things, you're in your bathtub, you're in a pool, you're on your yoga ball, whatever you're doing while you're having contractions, you're not gonna think about about how scary childbirth is about to be. That pain is so overwhelming. You don't care anymore. You do not care anymore. You're not even thinking about it. You're not even thinking about the fact that your child is about to enter the world. You are too busy trying to keep yourself calm and trying to get through the contractions and trying to just feel everything that's happening. And you're probably praying in your head, and maybe you're not, because that pain is crazy, okay? Those contractions were insane. I will never forget that. I will never forget how contractions felt. If this is your first child, you don't know anything. You don't know what you're about to experience, okay? But once you go for 2, 3, or however many kids you want, then you already know what to expect. It's different. But as a first-time mom, you don't know what to expect. You have no clue. I had no clue what was about to happen. Pain is excruciating. It is excruciating. That pain will make you forget about everything you ever thought about in your entire life, okay? It is the most intense feeling I have ever felt in my entire life, and it will be the most intense feeling you will ever feel in your entire life, probably. That fear of giving birth to your child, a first-time mom, goes out the window. Gone. Gone. You are not gonna think about it anymore because you are too busy trying to get it done. You are not thinking about how scared you are, the anxiety you felt, the stress. No, honey. No. You're not gonna think about it. I had a natural birth. I labored at home for almost 10 hours until I couldn't take it anymore. Okay, so when I got to the hospital, I was about 8 centimeters dilated already. Pats for me, man, because I thought I was gonna die at my house. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die right here. I'm just gonna die right here. I felt like I died twice while having those contractions. They get more and more intense as you get closer to having your child, which is a beautiful thing and also really exhausting. I was like, I don't like this. I'm so tired, okay? I wasn't scared. I didn't have anxiety. I was more like, get this baby out of my body right now. Because I was over it. I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, how long is this gonna last? It goes on forever. I would say I had a baby pretty quick. I was having contractions and I was in active labor for like about 12 hours. Then my son was born. So honestly, I'd say my whole process was pretty short, but it felt like it was going on forever. I was like, I want to go home. I want to go home and I just want to have this baby now. Okay, so you're not going to be scared. Childbirth is really not that scary because there's too much going on for you to be scared. There's way too much going on for you to be scared or for you to be stressed or for you to feel anxious. There's way too much going on. You're going to be in way too much pain to really think about anything else. And even if you get the epidural, it's still exhausting. Once I got to the hospital, the doctor was like, oh, you're at 8 centimeters. Your baby's almost here. Give me the stuff. I want the stuff. Give me the epidural. And he's like, are you sure? Like, you're almost there. I'm like, give it to me right now. Give it to me right now. Because I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to feel this ring of fire. I didn't want to do that. And I swear this doctor did not do it right, okay, girl? Because I could still feel all my contractions and I could feel myself having a baby. I was like, I don't want to feel it. I didn't want to feel it, girl. I did not want to feel it, but I still felt it. Which honestly I'm not that mad about. I don't even know if he really gave me an epidural. Like, he did the shot in the back and everything. So I'm assuming it was an epidural, but on the hospital bill, it didn't say epidural. It said pain medication. And maybe it was a different pain medication, but I don't know why they put it in my bag. Because I could still feel my legs just fine. Sure, they were a little heavy, so maybe it was an epidural. But still, girl, I could feel myself doing everything down there. I was like, oh my God, that all feels so gross. It just wasn't as painful. The pain med did help. It's not like it didn't help at all. It definitely did help. But you know, I was fine. I could feel him coming down. I could feel his head. I even like slightly like touched it. I was like, boop, just a quick little bop on the head. I was like, whoa, that was weird. I'm telling you, you're not gonna be afraid of having a child, okay? That's not a thing. It's gonna go right out the window. That fear, gone. Because you're gonna be busy. You're doing your thing. You're gonna be trying to get this baby out. You're not gonna be worried or scared about trying to get your baby out. No, sis, you're gonna be busy. You're gonna be busy and you're gonna get it done and you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna be just fine. Whether you have a C-section, a vaginal birth, whatever the case is, you're gonna be just fine. You're gonna be too busy to be worried. Okay, I promise. And I truly wish somebody would have told me that when I became a first-time mommy, because I feel like that was pretty important. Like, I wish somebody would have told me, like I know you feel anxious, and I know you feel stressed, I know you're scared about giving birth to a baby. That's a really big deal. Of course you feel those things before you give birth to a baby. But I wish somebody would have told me that once you're in it, you're in it. You're not gonna be thinking about that fear, the anxiety, the stress. Like, no, it's gone. It's gonna go right out the window. You're gonna be way too busy. And that would have made me feel so much better as a first-time mom if I would have known that. Because the 3rd trimester of my pregnancy, I was so anxious. I was so worried. I was so freaked out. I was sitting there like, what if I can't do this? What if I can't do it? Like, what if I can't get my baby out? The stress was eating me alive. That's not good for a pregnant woman. I feel like we should know these things. We should know that childbirth is not scary. It's not that scary. I know it seems really scary, okay? I know it seems really scary, and a lot of us have had traumatic births, okay? But don't you worry your little head off, okay? Childbirth is not that scary. I promise you, you will be okay. And when you meet your little baby, it's gonna be so exciting. And be like, wow, I'm a whole mother. I'm a whole mother. And what a blessing that is, okay? Now, what you're gonna need to worry about, though, is the mom guilt, okay? The mom guilt that might ruin your relationship between you and your partner, if you have one, okay? And just the mom guilt, period, that will eat you alive as well, okay? That is something you should worry about as a first-time mom, okay? Because that is not okay. And I've got tips that'll absolutely help you get past your mom guilt and move forward with your life and not let it absorb your entire life in this video. So be sure to check it out, and I can't wait to see you there. I hope you have a beautiful day, and congrats on your little baby. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!